I'm super excited to be here today because it is International Women's Day! And I have Paula Lacobara here with me. Paula, say hello. I'm so glad you're here.
Hello, hello, everyone, and happy International Women's Day.
Yes, we have someone from you're from Brazil? No, you're from you're from Argentina, right?
Yes, Buenos Aires.
I knew it was somewhere around those parts. Okay, cool. So we had to have someone international with an accent on International Women's Day, or we would just be thinking it's U.S. Women's Day, which would be very boring. So very glad you're here. I'm going to start with some rockin' songs so we can rock out and get excited about being women. So if you're a man, sorry, you can still celebrate with us. All right, here we go. I love yourself. Rock out. Yeah, I'm doing the chair dance. Woo! Awesome. All right, cool. Now we're serious. So welcome to the show. So this is our official first female empowered moneymaker show. And as you can imagine, this is going to empower you to make more money. Only if you're a woman. No, I do really love working with women because I just really believe that we're here to make a huge, huge difference in this world. And some of us women sometimes feel, really like maybe have doubts about themselves, or maybe have doubts about your worthiness or how much you should charge. And I know you have a ton of value to offer the world. That is never an issue, but sometimes it doesn't get projected. And so I really love empowering women in money and business. That's what I do. My name's Robin Crane, and I just actually came back from a 3-day event that I led right here in New Jersey with my Female Empowered Moneymakers group, and it was awesome because they just completely implemented stuff all 3 days. Got some videos done, sales scripts done, marketing materials done, website stuff done. It was just insane. And talk to me about empowered. They're so empowered. So I wanted to bring on Paula because she has such an amazing gift to help women really step into their femininity and still be empowered and powerful when it comes to making money. So Paula, thank you for being here. I'm so glad to have you on the show.
It's such a pleasure. I mean, I'm with you right there. I have such a passion for supporting women stepping into their power and learning how to actually utilize our femininity to access even more of our power.
Absolutely.
This is a conversation that I can talk for hours, so we'll try to make it short.
Yeah, I know it's going to be hard. But I got to keep this to 20 minutes because everybody's so busy, and we want you to continue with those money-making activities. So what's great about taking the time away from your business for a few minutes is that you get to learn, you get to learn some new skills to apply, and then you get to go back to work. So we're going to be very conscious of that and keep you in a small amount of time so that you get a ton of value real fast. And then you go make your sales calls or, do the work that needs to be done so that you can get your lead magnet out or whatever it is to attract more clients. So can you give me a little bit about you and your background? As we know now, you're from Argentina, not Brazil. Do not be confused. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into doing what you're doing.
So, I love that you were talking about the worthiness piece. And, I grew up in a country where there's a lot of femininity, and there's also a lot of I learned growing up that the woman didn't have much of a voice, that the men ruled, that we had to get married and have kids, that we just have side projects, but we didn't have a main career, that the men made the money. And so I have a really powerful grandmother. I had a really powerful grandmother. My mom always worked. I would go to work with her at her office, and both my parents worked. So we sort of had it in a different way, but culturally that's what you absorb when you live that way. So I experienced also a lot of abuse, objectification of women, as it happens in those countries. Beauty, it is a priority. So definitely that's why I started with the beauty piece, because for me it was like being so obsessed about my body and not feeling worthy about my body, and losing my power through my beauty. So once I moved to the States, it was
Well, I want to pause you on that because that's very interesting what you just said. You said losing your power through your beauty or with your beauty. So what do you mean by that?
well, beauty is power. Correct. So when a woman doesn't take care of her beauty, she doesn't feel confident. She doesn't feel worthy. She doesn't feel like herself. A woman's natural state is to be beautiful inside and out. We're very connected with our hearts. We're very connected with our emotions. We're very connected. We're very nurturing. So when we're disconnected, we become cold. We become, cold, I would say. We're not fully integrated with the truth of who we are. So beauty, when any woman, I mean, you just have a makeover, and you know what I mean. Go to Sephora and have a makeover, and you know what it feels like. You're completely boost.
I thought you said lose your power. That's why.
You do. In Argentina, what happened is that when I became, I started to, like, for me, within myself, what happened is that a lot of the, when you get attacked in your beauty, when you don't feel beautiful, I lost my power. I've always had attention. I've always received attention from people about my beauty, and when I didn't have it, I lost my power. And also in my country, what happened is that beauty was the source of power for women. There was not any other power. It wasn't the brains or anything. Like, beauty was the main priority. So when a woman didn't feel beautiful, she didn't have power. Does that make sense? That's what happened in my culture. That's how I grew up. So I thought that the only way to have power was to be beautiful.
Got it. So it sounds like what you're saying is you do have power in your beauty. And I think what you're saying is that it's beauty inside and out, obviously. And when you feel great and you feel beautiful, regardless of what other standards are out there, but when you feel beautiful inside and out, then you project power. And in your country, it sounds like the only beauty was the external beauty, that's like typically of like how, you might get respect or how you might get power was based on how others would see you. And if you were beautiful, which is probably, just like, to whatever the cultural standards allow, right, then you would maybe get some power. And I find that really interesting because I know, one of the big things when it comes to femininity is the opposite of that, and so many people don't realize, but that most of your power actually comes from your vulnerability and not your beauty or your power, the toughness of like, I'm cold, like you said, or I'm a rock, I can do anything, but really actually being vulnerable and willing to say, hey, yeah, I messed up, I'm messing up, I did it wrong, and look how many mistakes I've made. I know with my FEMM ladies in my program,
yeah,
I'm transparent. I'm constantly telling them how much I suck. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just constantly telling them the truth about, where I'm scared, and how even when I'm teaching them throughout the 6 months, throughout it, I'm also marketing and putting myself out there, and sometimes make big mistakes or struggling to get like the right content or get the right marketing out there, and I always open that up to them because I want them to see that nobody has it right all the time or is perfect by any stretch, and that by doing that they can really relate to me and gives them permission to make mistakes and put themselves out there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And so for me, for example, I also grew up in a family where I had, there was so much going on as many other families, but for me it was like I had a handicapped brother. My parents lost a child before I was born. So I was the first girl born in my entire family, not only that. So imagine like what it was, but also that came with a big pressure because I was the perfect one. So I always had to have everything together. I had to have control. So for me, that piece was being vulnerable. I couldn't afford to be vulnerable. I had to be strong. And I had to hold space for everyone emotionally in my family because I'm a natural empath. So for me, that was like I was absorbing everything that was going on in my family, and I had to become really tough. Because if I let loose, so I couldn't allow myself to be vulnerable. I couldn't allow myself, like I had to hold it together. And then I found that beauty was a sort of power that was acceptable, socially acceptable, and that I could play with it. But the trick is, that when you feel so much pressure within, then it has to explode somewhere. And for me, I started to eat compulsively. I developed eating disorder, so my beauty got distorted, and now my power is distorted.
Wow.
I didn't understand where the power really was. I thought that the ideas of power were either being like men, right? The power that comes from the masculine, and you have to be really aggressive and really push through and make it happen, and not take time for yourself, or just get really, really beautiful like the models, and then we have access to the VIPs, and you have what I'm talking about. So that was for me, that's what I've experienced until there were so many things that happened in my life. I moved to the States. I started, of course, funny enough, after living in Miami for 2.5 years, I moved to New York, and then I went into skincare school. I started to connect with women. I would have tons of women from the corporate world in New York, and I started to learn how women were completely suffering their beauty. I understood now. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on, and I started to understand about my own journey as well through them, and learning and teaching, and we were sharing things, and one thing led to another, and I started to really feel so on purpose helping these women through their skin in the beginning. And then I learned what coaching was. I went to coaching school. I learned coaching. But basically what it was is that when a woman stands in her beauty, when a woman stands in her feminine power, which then I realized that it also had to do with allowing yourself to receive. So I love that you share, do your making money activities, but also take time to receive. If you don't create space to receive, you're not going to allow anything to come to you.
Okay, so let's talk specific. So what would that mean? So for some of you listening, you're like, oh yes, totally. Maybe you really are very in the feminine, and you're like, oh yes, I need my space to receive. I just took a bath. Also, I had cramps on International Women's Day. I thought it was appropriate. But so I had to take care of myself and pamper myself a little bit. But also, I know some of us, like you said, we're go, gotta work. So how do you get in that position to receive? What's one thing you can give them, what they can do so that they're ready to receive?
Yeah, the piece about receiving is it's both. To me, is what I call it the tango. You need the feminine and masculine. In tango, the woman, it's not like, oh yeah, just leave me. If you call the tanguera, which is the woman who dances tango, she's unapologetic. She's bold. She doesn't just go to dance and be led. She takes it in. She receives it and then gives it back. The tango is the perfect synchronicity. And so there's times for you to be in your masculine, and there's times for you to be in your feminine. And the key is to find the balance of both. So one of the things that women can do, for example, I do every morning, is to start your day with the feminine and to end it with the feminine. What do I mean by this? If you start your day meditating for 5 minutes, allowing yourself to not just go and look at your phone first thing that you wake up. Some people have it on their night table, and the first thing they look at the emails, and you're already connecting with being bombarded, instead of connecting with yourself and your higher self and God, universe, whatever you call. When you do that, you ground yourself. And I also write my intentions, because we are all creators. We create our lives. And so I write an intention of how I want my day to look like. And I'm already setting myself up for that energy to come through me.
What are some typical, just when you say feminine and masculine energy, some people know what that means, but I think some people may also not know what that means. And it doesn't mean the masculine, for example, we're talking about making money, so the masculine energy is the only way to make money, and the feminine energy is the only way to relax. And I'm sure there's masculine ways to relax and feminine ways to, like you said, I love the tango reference, because it's cool. It's not, she's not just take me, it's like she has some control over it, has some part in it. So what could you just real quickly, just to give them an idea what that really means when you're in your masculine versus your feminine?
Sure. So what I'm talking about here is energy, right? I'm not talking about men and women, just to make that difference, because sometimes we just project it directly. The feminine energy is more nurturing, it's loving, it's accepting, it allows, it's soft, it's gentle. all of those aspects. The masculine energy is bold, it pushes through, it's more lineal, it's right, the feminine is more emotional, the masculine is more direct, is more connected with the logic. So and the masculine creates, I mean, think about it. We've gone through patriarchy, and look at the world that we built. Like, there's greatness to the masculine, and it makes things happen, right? The masculine executes. It's all of those pieces. We need both. We both, men and women, need both. I mean, call a man like they need their feminine energy, they might not accept that, but do you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's that kind of gentleness and softness and kindness. Those are feminine energy, aspects of the feminine. So what I'm talking about here is, I believe when you are in your feminine, you can allow yourself to receive. You can create the space for you to receive. And when you do that, when you create that space, that's what I'm saying. In the morning, you start your day with that feminine energy. You close your days appreciating. You come back to the feminine. You come back to the softness. And then during the day, you can be either dancing the tango, and some days are just way more masculine because you have a lot of things to do. But as long as you're aware, then you're like playing with it, and you're kind of balancing and dancing. I love that analogy because it's just so perfect. You're just dancing through your day.
Love it. I love it. So we're already coming up to the 20 minutes. Crazy how fast that goes.
Oh, yeah.
We want to be true to our promise here. So I know you wanted to give them something. So it doesn't end here, ladies. So this is just a little taste so you can get on with your day and keep being feminine and masculine. But we want to give you a couple things. I don't know if you don't have my book yet. This is called Mind Over Money Management. This is just a good one to have, not for your shelf, but for your eyeballs to actually read. This can really change your life. If you don't have this already, just go to mindovermoneymanagement.com. And I know, Paula, you wanted to give away a free, this woman, amazing woman. You can tell she's just all heart and just wants to give so much value. And I really hope you take her up on this, because she's about to give you something incredible. The first week, you said, of your program.
Right. So I created this unapologetic receiving program. So basically, it's all about receiving. You're going to, connect with the feminine energy. You're going to heal the blocks that are stopping you from receiving all of these ideas of the feminine, that the feminine is weak, that the feminine is not good, like all of those things that we all have one way or another. This is collective women. I mean, talking about the International Women's Day, this happens all over the world. I have clients all over the world, and we work around these same beliefs. It's collective. So we're required to do the cleaning of that. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I do. And then I teach you how to ask for what you want, how to learn how to receive, how to be unapologetic, how to set healthy, loving boundaries. Anyway, so it's all like it's dedicated to exactly what you need. And and I want to be mindful of the time. And the link for that, so what I'm going to gift you is the first week, which will set the foundation for your receiving. You are going to explore on every area of your life where you're lacking the receiving, so you can focus on that. And the link for that is paulalacobara.com/you-are-gift. So unapologetic receiving gift, but it's you-are-gift. So Paula Lacobara, LACOBARA, PAULA. LACOBARA/you-are-gift, GIFT.
Awesome. We'll put it in here as well, so you'll be able to, there it is, where'd it go? Be able to just click on it. But if you didn't get that, you can always rewind. So thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to leave a comment. So here's what we do a lot of times when it comes to social media. Everything's quick. We think, oh, wow, that was great, or we forget to share it. But this is really important. It's International Women's Day. It's important to share this with other women. It's important to comment and show that you support yourself in being, taking action here and really stepping into your feminine and going to do what you want when it comes to your business and when it comes to making money. So leave a comment, please share, go to our websites and subscribe so you can get more and more amazing content and just continue to grow yourself and your business. So thank you so much to Paula, and thank you all for staying with us for the 20-ish minutes, and we look forward to talking to you very, very soon. Thanks again, and have a great day.
Bye, ladies.